Hello, this is ManLove444 here, and welcome to another video. Now, this is going to be my review of Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 3, also entitled Oathbreaker. Now, the first thing we get to see is Jon. He wakes up. He's not wearing anything, obviously. Stannis is not Azor Ahai, apparently, according to Melisandre, and it is Jon, maybe? I mean, like, she seems to be jumping pretty quickly. But if he can be resurrected, maybe that's why. There's a line about you were dead, and now you're not, which Davos pretty much sums up pretty well. And Jon is a god, which is, again is more religious imagery, more stuff to do with him being Azor Ahai and him being the prophesized one to help us all. We then see Sam back again, and he has a conversation, and that's pretty much it. He talks with Gilly about how he loves little Sam, and about how Gilly loves him, and how they're going to Horn Hill. That's pretty much it for Sam's storyline this episode. And we then get the moment that everyone's waiting for. The Tower of Joy. Now, we get to see young Ned, and Howland Reed, and also Arthur Dayne. Now, there doesn't seem to actually be, he's called the Sword of the Morning, but there doesn't seem to be dawn. I mean, it looks like it maybe with the sun in the ground, but maybe that's just a nod to him in general. The sword doesn't actually seem to be in the episode, and I think they've just sort of replaced him as being good with one big sword as just being good with two. But it doesn't matter, because Howland Reed then kills Arthur Dayne, saving Ned's life. And what's interesting is Ned hears Bran, so maybe Bran's going to make a bigger impact on someone else's storyline by visiting them in a vision and talking to them, and that'll affect them in some sort of way. Now, they go up to start walking towards the tower to see what's inside, and then the three-eyed Raven pulls us back and prevents us from seeing what's going on. This fight scene at the Tower of Joy was actually really good. It was really impressive to see some really great fight choreography on the show. It's probably one of the best fights that we've actually seen in the whole series. But of course, they haven't actually revealed that R plus L equals J yet. But I mean, that'll probably come in a future episode. They'll go back and it'll be more or less confirmed then. We then get to see Daenerys, who arrives at Vaes Dothrak, and the horses have suddenly grown. Maybe the Dothraki are learning a bit of masonry and have decided to build their horses much bigger than last time. I mean, I think the show tries to slip it past us without noticing that the horses have changed size, but I noticed this. Anyway, the Dosh Khaleen are going to take her under a wing, but her fate is not going to be decided by the Dosh Khaleen, because unlike most Khaleesi's, she didn't instantly retire and become a member of the Dosh Khaleen. Instead, she went off and did her own thing. So all of the Khals are going to decide what happens with Daenerys. Now, this could be quite interesting to see what happens to her. Maybe she's more likely than not, she's going to either be accepted into the Dosh Khaleen, just put in the Dosh Khaleen, maybe become another wife of a Khal, let go, doubt that one, or killed. But I reckon before any of that happens, A, Drogon will turn up, and B, Jorah turns up, as we see in the trailer for the next episode. But I'll do a separate video for that later. Anyway, we move over to Meereen, where we see Varys talking to the woman who killed the Unsullied last season. It's quite a good throwback to it, and I like to see them reusing the actors. Now, she has a child, and Varys threatens her. But also offers her silver, and it really shows off Varys' manipulation skills, that he is able to twist the situation in his way to get the information that he wants out of the situation. We then see Tyrion, who is sort of waiting for Varys to finish interviewing, and we sort of get the sort of awkward conversation between him, Missandei, and Grey Worm. Now, they actually tried to play the game that Tyrion plays with Shae and Bronn. I mean, I'd like to see how it would have went with Missandei and Grey Worm. Be pretty interesting, but they don't drink because they're boring. Varys comes in, and we find out that Astapor, Yunkai, and Volantis are funding the Sons of the Harpy. But there's got to be some sort of ringleader within Meereen, and this could be Daario or someone else. We're not sure on that yet. We then get Cersei, who is talking to Qyburn, and Qyburn is collecting all of Varys' little birds and getting them on his side. We find out that there's going to be a trial by combat, and Jaime says, quote, "I want to see that fight, because it's going to be a fight between the Mountain and someone else. Maybe the Hound." hopefully the Hound. Well, I'm fairly sure Ian McShane has pretty much confirmed that it is going to be the Hound. Now, anyway, they then go and interrupt the small council meeting, and some new members have come. Olenna Tyrell's there. Kevin Lannister is the Hand of the King, and the Tyrells are not very happy. They're going to fight. They're going to do something about it. You can really see the power play between both Cersei and Kevin, and also Cersei and Olenna. They're both both of them seem to be fighting for power, and both times, really, I think Olenna and Kevin win, being the superior people. But I mean, I think Kevin lost, really, disbanding the meeting. But that annoyed me a little bit, but I wasn't too annoyed by it. We then have Tommen, who is becoming Joffrey, but he's just not really doing a very good job at it, is he? Let's be honest. He's obviously the I am the King line, taken straight from one of Joffrey's lines. He's sort of working towards becoming Joffrey, but he's nowhere near there. He's not as crazy. He doesn't have the power. He tries to take control of situations, but he just gets shut down every single time. Tommen doesn't seem to have any power over anyone, whereas Joffrey had power over so many people. Because he would control people like Roz and Sansa and all these women, but Tommen doesn't have anyone like that to control, because all the women seem to control Tommen, except the other way around. Plus, Tommen's not a bad kid. Tommen's a nice kid inside, so he's not going to be very manipulative. But anyway, his scene with the High Sparrow isn't really too important. All it is the High Sparrow just controls Tommen once again, as he is always being controlled. We then get Arya, who plays the game of faces with the waif, and we get her sort of recalling her family and some other important information. She's using her senses and actually getting much better at fighting blind. She ends up beating the waif, but then, as in the books, the storyline gets rounded up very quickly, ending in only the 3rd episode, as she drinks the poison that's supposed to kill her, and instead she gets her eyes back. This poison is very confusing. Maybe it's just sort of a potion provided by the many-faced god that does his will, essentially. It's kind of confusing. But, as in the books, Arya's storyline is sort of wrapped up very quickly. She doesn't really do anything with her blindness. All she has to do is fight for a bit and say, yes, I'm no one, and that's it. She's no longer blind, which is a bit disappointing. I thought they would have pushed it a bit more in the show, but maybe not. We then get Ramsay, who finds the Umbers, and the Umbers can't fight the Wildlings. That's why they've suddenly changed sides. It's a bit of a weak point. It doesn't really make any sense that they've betrayed the Starks because Jon's got a Wildling army. He hasn't really got a Wildling army, has he? He's just sort of let them through, because the Umbers were always the ones to fight the Wildlings. And they're annoyed by the fact that Jon's let the Umbers through. Jon's not a Stark either. He's just a Snow. But Anyway, the Umbers then. This is the small Jon Umber is in the scene. But that's not. And he sort of he makes some funny jokes towards Ramsay, especially the one about how he killed his father. I enjoyed that one. I won't repeat the quote because bad language. But it was it was very funny. It was a good scene. Anyway, we then see, as I predicted in my trailer breakdown, you can go back and watch that, the gift was in fact Osha and Rickon. Now, Rip Shaggy Dog, he gets placed down at the table. That means there's only 3 wolves left. Is this sort of foreshadowing for, the Starks? There's only, the Stark-wise, there's 4 Starks left, but only 3 dogs. But anyway, Rickon's grown up. You can really see how much older Rickon is in the thing. But other than that, I really hope that they don't just kill Rickon, because he can probably do a lot. He's a very good character. He hasn't done anything at all in the show. He's been completely pointless and he needs to do something. I hope they don't just bring him back just to kill him off, like they did with Ruse. That I don't want them to rush the storyline too much, because I felt that Ruse was killed off too quickly within the season. So, hopefully they don't do that with Rickon, and maybe he survives. Maybe he survives throughout that battle that is going to happen with the Boltons. Maybe he's about to be killed and saved. But hopefully they don't rush him and don't kill him, because I want him to progress and do something with the storyline. Maybe become Lord of Winterfell, because technically he has higher rights than Sansa, who is looking to raise an army, perhaps. hopefully Rickon will do something else in the story other than just die. And finally, we finish Circle with the episode coming back on Jon, and he kills the people that stabbed him. Now, there were definitely more than 4 knives. You can see the knife marks on his stomach. There were definitely more than just the 4 people that Sir Alistair, Bowen Marsh, and Arthur Yorick, and Ollie. There were definitely more. There should be more people on that line. I guess they wanted to make it epic and insane because they're the main characters that have been covered by the show. Anyway, Jon then leaves the Night's Watch. It's a very powerful scene. He says, my watch has ended, and leaves. Well, he doesn't leave. He goes back into Castle Black, actually, if you look at the image again. But he's probably just going to get Ghost, maybe Melisandre and Davos, and then either leave or just, I don't know, chill for a bit. Because he's got nowhere to go. He can't go to Winterfell because the Boltons are there. So we'll just stay at Castle Black for a bit. Well, but anyway, Sansa might be coming next episode. But I'll talk about that in my trailer breakdown later on today. Anyway, this is a really good episode. Not as good as episode 1, but I'd say definitely. Not as good as episode 2. But I'd say it was better than episode 1. There were a couple of boring scenes, like I felt Tommen and the High Septon scene was a bit boring. Sam and Gilly, that scene was also a bit boring. But other than that, I found it good. There are definitely more boring scenes in episode 1 than there were in this episode. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you next time.